Finally, a show from the Citadel universe that is actually good. Okay, wait. I take that back. Citadel Diana wasn't bad. It just didn't live up to the promise of the idea of the Citadel universe. Now, if you don't know what the Citadel universe is, it is the pet project of the Russo brothers and their production company Agbo. And basically, they wanted to create this global spy universe. It kicked off with Citadel on Prime Video, which told, I guess, the mother arc of the story. And then the idea was that they would get different directors from different countries all over the world to make their own series set within the Citadel universe. It's a really clever idea. It's a really cool idea. But the first show was so boring. And I swear to God, if it wasn't for Stanley Tucci, I wouldn't have continued watching it. The characters were kind of generic. The plot twists we saw coming a mile away. And there was nothing particularly new or fascinating about it. I haven't finished Citadel Diana. I've only seen the first 2 episodes because it was very slow going. It wasn't bad, but Citadel Honey Bunny, which is set in India, saves it. It moves. It is interesting. It is exciting. It's got complex characters. It leans into the idea of what a Bollywood show is. The action is fucking fantastic. Like, I couldn't stop watching this. This is what I want more of. I don't want all of this weird highfalutin set in the future spy stuff, which doesn't really go anywhere, but it's all about aesthetic and not about narrative or plot.
I enjoyed Honey Bunny. I think Honey Bunny was definitely the best of the 3. I thought Citadel 1 was kind of bleh. I get what they're trying to do with the opposing spy agencies and spy against spy and then double, triple crossing. And then suddenly there's a whole thing about secret identity. I'm just like, too much. I felt like the first one was too much.
But also, it didn't feel fresh. Like, none of the ideas in it felt interesting or new.
I was excited for Citadel Diana because I thought, well, okay, I love stuff that come out of Spain, especially the TV shows. They tend to be very good. But it felt too American. It felt too much like they're trying to save the original Citadel. They were trying to double down, almost like, oh, no, you don't know the story. Here, Citadel Diana is going to tell you what the story is, so you get it now. It was almost a doubling down in response to the lukewarm response of the original Citadel. However, Citadel Honey Bunny just starts off as fun. I think that first episode was a lot of fun. I think it keeps its pace. It almost feels like they had a better cohesive story to tell throughout the 6 episodes.
And I think that's exactly it. They knew the story they were trying to tell. Also, setting it in the past really helps because they're not bound by any of the nonsense world building that they're trying to do in the future with the other Citadel stuff, right? This one is set in the past and it kind of tells the origin story of Nadia, Priyanka Chopra's character, from the first movie, only in this one she's a little kid, and it tells the story of her parents, Honey and Bunny, and it's set within the world of Bollywood. And I say that because Bunny's job, in inverted commas, is a stuntman in the Bollywood film industry. And what this show does is actually lean into the history of the era as well. So if you know anything about Bollywood movies and Bollywood productions, it kind of borrows that history and weaves it into the narrative of the show in a very, very cool way. I think that adds a lot of character to the series because Honey Bunny isn't afraid of being what it is. The problem with the other 2 Citadels is that it felt very sterile. Honey Bunny leans into everything Indian about it, and I think that's why it works so well.
I see what you mean by sterile because that's kind of what I felt Diana lacked. It lacked a Spanish identity. It lacked a reason for it being in Spanish or in Spain or with a different cast. It just felt like Citadel season 2, but with different characters. Whereas Honey Bunny really feels like, and this is more of an indication on the first 2 shows that preceded it, it feels like a different show. It feels like a completely different thing. My only knock against it would be that it didn't spend enough time in the Bollywood stuntman thing that they kind of set up. I think they dropped it too quickly for my liking. I've liked a little bit more of that. I think that would have been funner. But no, I think Citadel Honey Bunny does actually a lot of the world building very well.
And here's where I think it's important that you get good directors and good writers to work on your stuff because the pedigree behind the show is great. Raj and DK are the directors, and they do this amazing show on Prime Video called Family Man. If you haven't seen it, you have to check it out. It's set in India. It's also spy espionage, but in the real world because it's about anti-terrorism and so on. Really, really good stuff. Like if you like the tension, the twists of Diplomat, you're gonna love Family Man. I think there's another season of Family Man that's coming out soon as well. There are 2 seasons out already, and they've kind of made their mark. You know what you're going to get from Raj and DK. They've also worked on the series with their writer, Sita Menon, who is also working on Honey Bunny. And so you've got a fantastic team with a very clear idea of the story that they want to tell. And that clarity really comes through. The other thing that they do incredibly well is action sequences. Even in the very first episode, there is a oneer in the car when Honey is trying to escape her captors, and it is magnificently shot. It looks real, like the actress is actually doing all the work. And in our interview with her, it felt like she was doing a lot of the work in that sequence.
A lot of work went into that sequence, let's just
And
say.
it does come across. And I
Yeah.
think as the audience, you really appreciate the effort that has gone into it. And throughout the series, there are incredible action sequences that are almost John Wick-esque in nature.
There is a great attack on a mansion later on in the show, which was fantastic. There's an entire sequence when the team are away on a mission somewhere in Europe. That entire sequence was fantastic. I think it really gave me a way into not just Honey and Bunny, but his team, right? They've got a real banter going. And I think all of that goes a long way into making me want more of the Citadel universe. I think the problem with Citadel 1 was that they tried to do too much in one season. They tried to develop the story too quickly. I think they rushed through the story. You hadn't introduced the idea of these spy organizations yet, and then all of a sudden there's a double cross and a triple cross, and there's these other guys, and then there's a hit. I'm just like, I barely know their names at this point before you even tell me Stanley Tucci's trying to say. I'm just like, no, you cannot do that now.
But also, Priyanka Chopra and Richard Madden were really dull. Like the characters were so boring, and I don't think they were written well at all. Like Stanley Tucci was the most interesting character. He had the best dialogue, but yet again, the show is not about him. I know they're shooting season 2. I'm hoping they fixed it because if you want a great in, it's Citadel Honey Bunny.
Yeah.
And I'm hoping this is a sign of things to come. I'm hoping that maybe this is the error correction and that they've learned from those mistakes and that they're going to fix it moving forward. Because once again, the concept is super cool. Like, this is the kind of stuff we crave, right? These are the kind of comic books we read. And this is the kind of cross-media, multiverse storytelling that we like.
Yeah.
But it's got to be done well, and it can't feel so damn generic.
Yeah.
Honey Bunny wins because it is so specific. It is so specific to its time, to its place. It has characters that belong there, and it tells a story that's fun being the key word, with action sequences that are actually thrilling. Amazon's invested far too much money to give up now, so we know they're going to keep making this stuff, so here's hoping it's good lah.
Here's hoping that they don't try and force a meet cute with all these characters. I think what is interesting for me is that, yes, they all share the same, in inverted commas, organization, the Citadel organization, but I don't need Priyanka Chopra and Madden to show up in Citadel Diana. And I don't need Honey Bunny to show up in the original. You know what I mean? Like, I don't need some convoluted reason for executives to try and share audiences across. I just think if you tell your organic, good story, people will go across on their own.
So you don't want Citadel Endgame. where they all show up together, like that Power Rangers episode where every generation of Power Ranger shows
I
up.
really, really don't.
Ah,
Look, for me, if there's a logical reason for a mission to happen in Spain and Priyanka Chopra needs to go there and team up with Citadel Diana, actress, lady person, that's fine. But I don't want them showing up at a meeting and having their own sort of plans and designs about what they're going to do. I don't need it to feel forced. Well, I need it to not feel forced, rather.
whatever the case may be, whatever future Citadel has on Prime Video, the one thing we can tell you is that Honey Bunny is worth your time. It is a lot of fun, and I think you might have a little bit of hope left in this franchise after watching this one. Check out Citadel Honey Bunny. It is now streaming on Prime Video. Let us know what you think once you've seen it. You know how to reach out. Goggler MY, all of our social media feeds. You can also email us on podcast at goggler.my or send us a WhatsApp on the Goggler hotline 012-524-5208. Thank you so much for listening. This is the Goggler Podcast.